From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com. ZNation. ZNation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. ZNation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is ZNation on SoFloRadio.com.
Good day. Happy day, everyone. Welcome. This is Zayna De Gaia. This is ZNation. And we are on SoFloRadio.com in the heart of Hollywood, Weird, Florida. Yeah. We have a guest in the studio today, Erik Thompson Greene. Welcome. We'll be conversating about some. Erik is a special guest for me. Erik is one of my teachers. And today I decided, instead of having a theme or kind of outline for my monologue, I have nothing. And that's in your inspiration, Erik. So thank you. Erik is a performance artist, and I will officially introduce him in just a little bit. But I thought I would talk today from nothing and see what happens, kind of like you've taught me, Erik, to kind of allow myself to go somewhere and be afraid to fall and keep going. So this is a little bit more. So what I wrote down on my paper today is I don't know what to talk about. And
great place to start.
I was going to start with that. I don't know what to talk about. I do know that my whole life I've had this story of like I'm not heard. And I've done it with all my partners. I tell them, you don't hear me. You don't hear what I say. And it's not an accident that I tripped on a radio show and now I have a show where I can be heard across the world.
Don't freak out.
So yeah, I don't know what to talk about, but yet that's not true because there's a lot I want to talk about. There's a lot of things that are important to my heart. So I'll start right here and just discover what I want to talk about today. So I don't know.
I think taking your time and relaxing into the sensation of what that's like is a good place to start.
All right. I'll do that. So I'll invite you to the listeners, kind of, let's have an experience together. So I'm going to relax and feel what's there.
And let the relaxation into your voice. Be comfortable with your microphone.
The comfort of my microphone. It is a relationship that I'm getting to know, is my relationship with my microphone. It's definitely an important part of this this radio show thing. So yeah, there's this microphone that I'm speaking into. So I'm discovering the sensations in my body right now. I feel like the nervousness of being nervous is like the butterflies that you call in the belly, and I often have those. I have them before shows. I have them before I have conversations with people. They also come up before I teach yoga or before I'm about to speak. They're very familiar. And I'm looking, there's a bottle of lavender in front of me. So I also use this during the show, like it's my tranquilizer. So I'll take a hit once in a while. And it's not like, I'm not like a nervous wreck. I think sometimes I overthink things. So in this moment, it's interesting because I haven't thought any about what I'm going to say. And I feel more nervous. I feel like I'm at the edge of something, and I'm just exploring the feeling of this. And I notice myself still trying to like get to something. Like I should get into a topic. So, there's a little, I'm looking at my surrounding. It's funny. Your what do you call these?
Coasters.
Your coasters say
Broadcast quality coasters.
Cockspur. Strut your stuff. Cockspur. Is that a rum?
It is a rum. They were in the studio for the By the Glass show, and they left us, with the beach ball and some tchotchkes, and of course some rum.
Strut your stuff. This is interesting. I like this. Strut your stuff. I was just sharing with someone yesterday. I went out last night to Miami, and I wore peacock leggings, and they were very flashy, with a little crop top, which is also very flashy,
Yeah.
right? And I realized that I've been flashy a lot in my life. It's been something that I've been doing to prove something. Like it was kind of like I'm not good enough, so I'm gonna stand out and be flashy. And somebody pointed that out to me probably like a month ago. Something about my way of being. And I got present to like, wow, that's what I've been doing my whole life, is trying to prove to myself that I'm not a loser, or that I'm good enough. And I have this flashy thing. And I had this amazing like breakthrough with that. And I got like that I can strut my stuff and be flashy just because. Just because it's a self-expression for me, just because I'm an artist, just because I love to coordinate colors, and I love to see like certain colors go with each other, and I love to see patterns also go with one another, or even clash with one another. I love to bring colors together in harmony, and I love to bring colors together and have them clash. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was so freeing, like the freedom of strutting my stuff because I fucking can.
Well, it's you looking for your microphone. I mean,
My microphone.
your microphone. And I can hear it just in the quality of your voice as you started to get into something that you were passionate about putting your colors together, that you found part of your voice and the lack of ease that was in it as you were confronting not having something to talk about. So if you can tune into that sensation, into the sensation of what it feels like to want to be seen as you're having that.
Wanting to be seen,
or
wanting to be heard, wanting to be acknowledged, wanting to be known, like all those things. And okay, so tap into the sensation of that.
Well, everything is a metaphor, right? Here we are on the radio. And so we're on the radio. So there's this obligation to fill the silence with our sound. And yet as we do, we hear the tension that brings about. So getting into a little loop where you feel what that's doing to your voice, and then you allow your voice to soften in response, as opposed to not doing it and pushing through it.
All right, so let me do it again. Let me start over. Not start over, but let me go start
let
again.
Let me continue.
Yeah, let me continue from that place of I don't know. It's
yeah.
What the word is. It's freeing to freaking say I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know, and I do know.
Yeah,
I do know.
This is the paradox of life, where we have all this power and we're absolutely powerless. You know, we have to kind of embrace, or we don't have to, we can embrace the roundness of our situation, how it can go in any direction, and actually have some get in touch with what it's like to be now. Because we're so busy with filling the air, getting on our own radio station, and we have our mic. We always have our mic. We always have our mic. I mean, someone was telling me about this great kit that they can do all this cool electronic stuff and how you can make music with that. And I'm sure it's an amazing tool. But we are the most amazing tool. You have so much options with your voice. You have so many options with how you want to put colors together. to just make that a natural part of who you are, and not something that is an obligation or a place that you need to shine. Just shining because you're so fascinated with what you're doing.
Ooh. Fascination. All right. Yeah. Let me keep discovering that. What am I fascinated with? What do I spend my day thinking about? What fascinates me? That's a good question. Fascination.
Well, it's a choice. You can bring it to everything you do. I was slowing down on the freeway to get to the exit, and this bird was going by, and this bird had something in its claws, and it dropped it. And it was this little branch. I guess it was making a nest or whatever it was doing. But I got to watch this thing because I had slowed down just a little bit to get to the exit. I got to watch this piece of a branch float down in front of my car. And it was fascinating. It was just enough to draw my attention. And then once my attention is drawn, to stay with it, to stay with how it feels for my voice to soften. As opposed to, I can be here, and there's really nothing wrong with having a little tension and being up on it and wanting to say something. But there's so much space behind you to relax into.
I just got fascinated by you, Erik.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw you in a whole different light, like just being really present to you in this moment. As you were speaking, and it was glimpses of it, because I go in my head and I think about what you're saying, and I think about maybe what I can say. And I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about meditation, and why I meditate is so I can interrupt the pattern of the thinking. And it's something that is so important to me because it goes into everything that I do. And as I'm developing who I am as an interviewer, as a hostess here, I feel that developing that practice of being just completely fascinated, present with who's here versus anything that I have planned to ask or say or do with that person. And that's, it's something I keep learning from you, and I keep learning from really nature, is just how to flow with the moment. And I observe now, even now as I'm speaking, my mind has so many ideas for what to say and to interrupt in this moment. And there's something so calming about being at the edge of that cliff, being at the edge of the diving board in every moment, in that like discomfort.
Yeah. Creativity is a plastic moment. We have this elastic ability to stretch into time as we create, as we actually.
Can you repeat that? We have the elastic.
No, I can't. But no, yeah, I can. Okay. The moment is plastic.
Yeah.
We have an ability to expand the elastic of the time that we're in. I felt that little drip of sweat coming down my lip, and I felt it go over the little curve. And
I saw that.
Yeah. And so
I
that
was
for me,
fascinated by
that was
it.
one little part of the kaleidoscopic options of what I'm feeling. And somehow I could focus on that and bring it to the fore and tell that as part of the story, the bird dropping the little thing. Or I can just own that and bring that to what I need to say. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but that really is okay, because you stand at the cliff of not knowing and allow your water to fall down the hill, because it has a pathway, and it's really about sensing what works. And if you're in communication with another human being, really being present with them so that you can share weight with them, so that you can respond to what happens with them. So.
I'm present to how for some people, like myself, this idea of flowing in the moment can be a little bit scary. And it's like we learn so much. For example, like if you're a musician or you're a speaker, a performer, generally you would prepare yourself in advance. You would create your set or your outline for your performance or whatever you're going to do. And for me, throughout the years, I've found like a balance, because I used to be the kind of person that had to organize everything and have it all thought out.
Mm-hmm.
And, as I'm growing, as I'm evolving, I'm not willing to prepare for things in that way anymore. And it makes me very nervous. And at the same time, I can't imagine going back to the old way of being, of having it all planned out. And I think it's like it's a muscle, right, that we develop. It is evolution, and it's a practice of continually allowing ourselves to be in the moment and trusting in the moment. And it could be, it's helpful in a lot of things that we do. For example, I do coaching with people. Coaching is a perfect example of all there is to do is be present in that moment with the other person and listen. And listen. And that's why I love doing this, because I have an opportunity to just be with people in the moment and listen and practice that and get better at that. And discover what the moment, I love what you just said, Erik, where the water will flow, and allow for that water to flow. And I definitely can't say I've mastered this. It's something that, it's a constant, like a kind of like a pull in both direction. My analytical mind, my wanting and needing to know that things are the way they should be in the world of should and could, and the other side is letting go and experiencing the fear, the sensations in my body that come up. It's an interesting thing. And then for those who are just starting off on the path, like the people who are very organized and very structured, to start to let go of seemingly what we think we can control, and then getting that there's much that is out of our control, and we start to just release a grip on things. And I don't know where I'm going with this, and this is incredible. And it's awesome to have this experience with people listening and just letting go of whatever it needs to be. And I didn't think this out much. I just said, well, I don't know what to talk about today. It was just a statement I made. I haven't prepared for this show. And then I thought, well, Erik's on the show, and it's a perfect opportunity for me to take a risk and just drop in and have these moments of or just silence, which silence is a big no-no on radio. So I want to keep filling it.
Flow is the natural state.
Yeah.
Flow is a natural state, and it includes silence. It comes from silence, so in as many modalities as possible in your life, to let yourself link up with that flow, to find some rhythm, to find a gap, whatever it is that takes you into your imagination and into your breath and into the simplicity of not being busy, so that fascination can occur to you, so that you can see the bird dropping, the sweat dripping, whatever it is, so that the moment can take you, because it's right now that we're whole. All our issues come in not being right now. And it's really important to be set up for the future and to be organized. I don't necessarily espouse my way of doing things for staying on the planet in the most effective way. But for staying on the moment, it's really good to have less of an agenda and to be able to jump back and forth.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are things I'm actually probably supposed to say about what I'm doing.
Oh
you
no,
know?
no, we're not there yet. I have
Good.
it all. I have it all designed.
Okay. You see, I mean, and that template comes right over. So
Yeah.
it's I don't think it makes sense to deny that. It's just to balance the scales a little bit.
Yes. And I think creating, like, for example, if I would have come on the show today and just started babbling without telling my listeners that that's what I was doing, you know, if I was just came on and said, I don't know what to do, and I just started going into that, there's no context for people to really get what's happening.
Sure.
Whereas, you know, we set it up at the beginning and I said, this is what I'm doing. So there's a place for it. And sometimes it's, it works, and sometimes it may not work given the circumstances. But of course, the essence of what we're talking about is presence. You know, the essence is life happens now. And whatever we can use, as I'm looking, I love looking out this window. I see the space between the palm leaves, and that brings me into the moment. And that's the essence of what we're talking about.
No.
If I can, if it works for me to be structured and organized and to have notes, and at the same time I can like surrender and allow myself to be in the moment and allow for the flow to take me wherever it needs to go, and I can, my fingers can be relaxed on the grip. So if I have to let go to the right, I let go a little bit to the left, and I can move side to side. So that's the ebb and flow. There is, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, we're multi-dimensional beings that need to figure out how to get our hands on all the different levels of our handles, you know, so that we can roll in all directions, because really life demands us to be flexible. And as you go along, it's very common to lose your flexibility and to forget to sit on the floor, or to spend too much time in chairs, or whatever your habit is that doesn't let you go in the other direction. It's good to go in the other direction.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What direction do I want to go in now? Well, I don't know. I'm just sitting in the I don't know. And what time is it?
Oh, what time?
I mean, how much time have we?
I was gonna.
That was the question
I was-
on my mind. How much more is there now?
I was gonna write it
yeah.
on a little note. We're 23 minutes in, so I was gonna write a
Perfect.
little note for
All
you.
right.
And don't forget, you have your pop song du jour.
That's where I want to go next. That's what we're gonna play. So, what we're gonna play today, it's not a pop song du jour. It's actually a pop song in the yoga world. It's by MC Yogi. It's the kind of song I'd like to see go pop. I'd like
Pop
to
goes the yogi.
exactly. This is a song I'd like to see go mainstream.
All spiritual activists, truth seekers, and peaceful warriors.
It's called Be the Change.
worldwide.
I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.
Once upon a time, not long ago, there was a boy who would grow
And become a great soul.
He lived in India,
And his name was Gandhi. He believed in human rights and he fought for equality.
He felt so strongly that he trained himself, cause he realized first he'd have to change himself. He changed his clothes and decided to walk. Some days he practiced silence and refused to talk. When he was young, he studied to be a lawyer, and then he became a great spiritual warrior. He read from the scriptures of every religion,
Came to the realization that we're all God's children,
because he understood
that we're all equal. He became
a spokesman
for the people.
a karma yogi devoted to service, to spread truth and peace was his
Ready?
purpose.
You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world.
Just like Gandhi,
Be the change that you wanna see in the world.
just like Gandhi, just like Gandhi.
Just like you. just like Gandhi.
Gandhi dedicated his life to the cause, even when it meant breaking unjust laws. He often faced prison and incarceration, but that only strengthened his determination.
So that is Be the Change. Hip hop in the yoga world. He broke through. MC Yogi broke through. So I wrote you a song.
Cool.
I did. I wrote you a song, and I'm gonna rap it to you.
I just have the same beat. Is that good? No, I didn't. We didn't get a new beat.
Let me hear it. Let's see.
The slick,
This
Rick.
is the flow show. This is the flow show. Yeah, let's try that one and see how we like it.
It's a picture of Gandhi.
All right, I could roll with this.
Okay, there you go.
Authentic and raw, E-R-I-C. Authentic and raw, E-R-I-C. Everywhere he goes, he can really see. He can really hear your heart. Your voice, your truth. He encourages you to be the real you. Be the real you. Be the real you. Authentic and raw, E-R-I-C. Authentic and raw, E-R-I-C. Everywhere he goes, he can really see. He can really hear your heart, your voice, your truth. To be the real you, be the real you. Erik Thompson Greene.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh.
Yo. Hey.
So that was the official welcoming of Erik on the show. Welcome, Erik.
Thank you, Z.
Thank you for being here on short notice.
Hey, it's all short notice now.
You put on your cape and you flew over.
Yeah. Made it.
So Erik Thompson Greene, performance artist,
Sure.
actor,
Yeah, okay.
producer,
Somewhat.
my friend,
Yes.
teacher,
Absolutely. Why not?
all around fun, good guy.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Do you have any other labels you want to add to the label list?
No, I'm actually into not sticking on labels. I'm coming unglued in front of you as I speak.
I got it. So, well, what's underneath all the labels?
Well, I would like to figure out how to bring people to the moment and to themselves.
Stick that on it.
I was like, are you passing me a note?
But
it's a label. I wanted to be ironic.
I have a label.
Oh,
now.
there you go.
Erik, George just passed me a label with
label.
Erik,
There
but
we go.
it's with a K. All right.
We're labeling you already.
Yes. So, I think we all have a lot to give, and I think the world is about finding a way to give. And so I'm interested in bringing what has occurred to me in my life to people and using that to empower them. And to empower them to be less concerned with their agendas and to be less concerned with anything but the sensation of now, because I feel that the real refuge, the real thing that we have to hold on to as we proceed in our journey of life is what we can sense. And if you stick with that, at least you have one foot in a reality that counts, so.
It is. That's one of the main teachings the Buddha taught, is to use the senses to be in the moment and to explore the truth of life in the moment, in every moment.
Yeah.
So, Erik, you've been going back and forth?
Yeah, I've been going
Berlin to Florida?
Yeah, I live in Berlin about a third of the time, and I'm here about 2/3 of the time.
Yeah.
So,
what have you been doing over there?
Well, my girlfriend's a contact dance teacher, so I do a lot of dancing over there, which is quite exciting.
Cool.
Since I secretly always wanted to be a dancer, but was too stuck in my head, which is just so hysterical because I work on not being stuck in my head, and yet there it is. There it is, So I can dance with an object or another human, but I can't get out of my head while I'm doing this, So it's really interesting to do that. So I'm over there. Also, my father's over there. My father's a pretty well-known artist, and
He's a musician?
he created an instrument, and he also is a painter, or was a painter, and has a lot of paintings. And he plays this bizarre steel instrument that vibrates. And so I'm deeply interested in resonance. So when you work with your voice, for instance, to allow the connection of how it's vibrating you, so that you sense that, and that takes your tension down. Because if you're up here and you feel the tension, and you can almost create a reciprocal relationship where hearing relaxes you. Where I use cans, I use these things to increase the echo, and to hear how sound is actually vibrations moving space, and so that you can be moved by them, and to really tune into the physical reality of that. You can be, of course, even though Buddha is all about senses, you can of course be, Buddha would be right on that you can be deceived and misperceive. So you always have to be awake to the other side of things, because it's very easy to fool yourself too. So you want to fool yourself in the right direction. Anyway, I got lost a little bit there.
Can we demonstrate any of that?
Demonstrate. I
do you have
can. I
cans?
do have a can.
I can't wait for the cans.
So the can.
Remember,
the can is over here, and with the mic.
so this is an empty tin can like that
this is
you
a can.
used to have popcorn in it or whatever.
Wonderful.
Yes, this is a very large. This is my favorite of all my cans. I have 400 or so cans.
He really has 400 or so
Yes.
cans.
They make a huge, large sound installation. But the coolest part of the can is, well, there's so many cool parts, but the sound.
Wow.
Actually, you get a sense of the space and shape of sound. So you can enter into the plastic moment of making the sound and get a connective tissue between you and the sound you're making, so that you can begin to feel what it is like to be in the flow of creation. It really allows you to connect.
So you use all this stuff and you teach people to be more aware. I'm trying to be more aware of their sound and to tap into being in the present moment.
Yes,
As a
and
tool.
to play with it, so that they allow their fascination to rise up into the moment with whatever they're. Basically, we're instruments, and we have all these different parts. We have our voice, our movement. We can dance, we can think, we can talk. We're poets. We create colors, and to begin to access our palette, so that we can take all of our humanity and bring it to the moment to share with the other people that we encounter, because we're so often functioning on this narrow bandwidth, the commercial bandwidth. This is I'm promoting myself, I'm earning a living, I'm this, I'm that, but we don't spend enough time touching each other in the round, and I think that the more ways we have, everybody wants to be heard, and nobody has time to listen. So we have to start encountering each other in more whole ways. And I think that the more space we give to each other to be heard and to hear, that there's a lot of room there in our world for growth and for liberation in that experience.
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching classes at I Love Yoga. I'm here for a couple months, and I'm really blessed to have such a wonderful and supportive space. I Love Yoga, I think, is one of the most tied into the community and its ability to grow. And I'm really proud and happy to be a part of that place, and to bring this work there.
So your weekly class there, it's a performance type workshop, but it's not only for people who are acting.
No, not at all.
It's for anybody.
It's for anybody. It's about creative self-expression and becoming more in touch with that aspect.
So
of yourself.
what, like for the, I'm going to say average person, like somebody who doesn't know anything about your work walking into that workshop, what would you say they would walk out with? What would they get out of it?
Nothing. and that would be very useful.
It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing, and I'm good at it.
absolutely, most people are. And how are you good with your nothing? I mean, really,
Amazing. I can do nothing better than most people I know.
yeah.
Just
But to
watch.
really put it on a table and stare at it, and have other people admire it.
Yeah, there's value in that.
So do you? So you?
But
What
I
are
mean,
you
that's a
saying
little
is-
tongue in cheek. At the same time, I think I really want to give people access to their voice and understand that there's a metaphoric microphone there for them at any moment. All they have to do is turn their power on, and plug in. So you just, if you can plug in to what you are at a deeper level, we function so much on an unconscious level, and we give so little respect and space to our unconscious's need to direct. And so I like to provide a space that is undirected and that is open for people to begin to touch their dreams and let their dreams start to touch their lives and flower in different ways. I don't really know exactly what they would get, but I think they would get the chance to touch a deeper part of themselves and to relax. I was watching this thing with Bill Murray, and he was talking about how whatever you do, if you're relaxed when you're doing it, you do it better. And I think that's really about that, getting into the flow so that you can link up with that which is greater than you and bring that to the moment, because we're all just vessels for that, and so you bring that and you figure out how to open yourself to that, and whatever that means for you. I'm not sure how to present it or bottle
How
it.
to label it.
Yeah,
Give it a label.
Yeah, I actually think it's really about unsticking the labels and then being able to erase them and write what you want on them whenever you want.
I think that's. I think what I understand from what you said, nothing is people having the awareness that they can bring it back to nothing. They can bring themselves to nothing in any moment. And nothing is life. It's like when we bring ourselves to nothing, everything is available. It's like everything and nothing. And I think that's, I think you're a hero for that, Erik. I think it's really needed in the
thanks.
world right now. I was just talking with another guest, Brian Reeves, and that's one of the things he teaches. And I asked him, what do you teach men? Because he's a relationship coach. And the one thing he emphasizes with men is how he teaches them how to be present.
That's usually what a woman is asking for in relationship, in the classic, relationship cartoon. What's missing, is, well, I want him to look me in the eyes and spend time with me,
Yeah.
and that's really all everybody wants.
Yeah.
I think, and that is more and more a problem as social media and as we all develop our ability to express ourselves. We need to be connected to what we're expressing so that it's deep, but also there's only so many ears out there to hear us. So we have to somehow fascinate the people around us enough so that they want to stop their busyness and give us their attention. It's so precious. Attention is so precious. So I think it's really interesting to work with the energy of people's attention on you. So that's one of the things that the work does too, is not only do we allow space for relaxation and for connection, but then we use each other as the audience so that in the crucible of being seen, you begin to fan the flames inside you, and that creates the flowering. That creates, hopefully the expression that needs to be said.
Yeah, I highly encourage it. I know for me, when I started doing work with you and with Moses, it was extremely uncomfortable for me.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It's. My brother was saying that too. He's like, Z, this work is hard, and it can be. And
Yes.
any transformational work, it's like, when you go from a caterpillar to a butterfly, it's a process. It's an unraveling. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. I remember the movie The Matrix, when he took the blue pill or whichever color he took. I don't know if you remember that scene in the movie. He takes the pill,
Yeah.
and then he goes down this like really slimy tunnel, and it's like and he's,
Rebirth. Yeah.
he's going through all this gunk, and then on the other side is whatever that guy's name is, the black guy.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. What's his name in the movie? Morpheus?
Oh, no.
Morpheus.
it's,
Morpheus.
Yeah,
yes.
and then Morpheus is there breaking down, the reality of things. Now, speaking of reality, I heard that you've been hired to produce a reality show. Will you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, actually, Moses and I have been talking about this for many a good bit of time now.
It's exciting.
And I mean, I think that at I Love Yoga, there's a ongoing. There are teacher trainings, and a teacher training is about a group of people coming together and working on figuring out who they are, and so it's a natural place of growth, and there's plenty of conflict in the different people's worlds. I've worked in television and video for most of my life now, and one thing they're always asking for in reality shows is conflict, and conflict is important, but I think to the service of evolution and to the service of people connecting to who they are and how they want to be in the world. What was the Gandhi song that you were, Gandhi quote,
change.
Be the change. So to be the change, you need to have a community that supports you, and then to film that community and to use the modern technology of streaming and mobile devices as each person goes through their personal journey of transformation, to begin to document that and give a space where everybody can be heard and has the chance to be in front of each other. I think that would be a really interesting and fascinating bit of theater to bring to the world, and also something that you could continue to grow with, so that you provide this streaming platform that then people begin to come to and relate to and become invested in a positive way, of course.
So we've been shooting video in the teacher trainings, and that's going to be the beginning of the reality show, and this is going to be airing online.
Not the technical, I'm not sure exactly how that part of it would go, but yeah, I think my vision of it is that there's a ongoing stream, and it might just be a trickle at first, but as the content begins to grow, so will the portal that allows it to be seen.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to give the world a glimpse of what goes on at I Love Yoga. And I Love Yoga is a small nucleus of a whole. There's a lot of conscious communities that are popping up all over the world. And we have this little cocoon going on over there. There's a lot going on, and there is transformation, there is healing, there is conflict.
Yeah.
And the conflict, how we resolve the conflict, is an extraordinary thing to share with the world, because we're doing the work. We are we get angry with each other, we get on it, we get pissed, we get annoyed, and then we resolve things with communication, with compassion. And I think if we can put more stuff out there in the world that everybody can see and have access to, that's amazing.
Yeah, and also, fundamentally what you're doing there is giving people classes. You're giving people class, and what people do when they take a class is they come to a room and they give themselves the space to grow. Essentially, you come into a room and the teacher says, arrive, be on the floor. Let go of all that stuff that's running you, because you need that to get in touch. And so if you provide that, and you provide that in a way that's inviting, more and more people will see that option. And I think that's a lot of what the yoga movement in the U.S. is about. And in Europe, there's also a lot of somatic journeys. And I really believe that, as it's almost like adventure travel was a few decades back. Now adventure travel is for people to have on the inside, and really, the more and more mountains you can climb within your soul and in your body, the more, the richer is the oxygen you'll be able to breathe, or the thinner, whatever, And, I just think that there's a need for it, and a great adventure in playing with that energy and inviting people in to spend more, to get more of their value internally as opposed to in the external world where there's much more lack. At this point, the resources are running out on the outside, and where the resources are plentiful and refurbished is in our own hope and our own aspirations and our own spirit. You know, so I think that I Love Yoga is a place to make that happen in the microcosm of the community, and also then to mirror it out to the greater community.
Yeah, Erik, you know, I'm present to how unique what you offer is. You know, it's kind of hard to describe it. Even as we're talking about it, I feel it's so abstract.
Yeah.
You know, for people to like get what the hell are they talking about? There's a lot of words going on, but what really goes on in these workshops? I'm curious to know, you know, what brought you to this and how you've developed this.
Well, my entire family are artists, and I led a very unconventional childhood. I'd never lived anywhere more than a year till I was 11, and I was exposed to lots of strange things. And then as an adult, I encountered Buddhism fairly early, and was intrigued by that and existentialism. And then I also was enamored of a movement form, some dance, and then also footbag, hacky sack. I went to several world championships and was into that and sports. And then I met a man named Alec Rubin, who was a theater teacher and primal therapist, and he gave me the keys to the work and to getting into your unconscious. I had done some exploration with that before, but I spent many years with him and started to perform and then continued from that. And then I've also been playing this horn in a can for 20 years or more now.
A horn in a can?
Yeah, the cans I use as an amplifier for a horn. It's kind of like a small bamboo saxophone, and then the can, I play into the can, and then you create that connection with the sound. So I don't know how it'll work, but also, well, I'm not warm, but anyway. So I don't want to really get lost in that, but playing music is about entering the rhythm. I've never trained as a musician, and I'm so annoyed with myself for not being able to sing songs and play jazz, you know. But what I have done is spend a lot of time at drum circles and getting lost in the rhythm and having confidence in the time to enter and the time to close. It's always hard to stop playing because you want to play more, you know, but to give space to the other people and to hear each other and to play, to work with your volume so that you can peak at some points when there's space, and then to bring yourself down so you can hear the other people and to really, you can feel it when the conversation begins in music or in anything. I assume in an interview too, when you start to really lean into each other and you feel each other in response, you know. And so there's a tactile quality to that I think that I've learned from music. And then the other thing is I've spent a lot of my life living near the ocean, and I think the ocean is perhaps the greatest teacher available, because you enter the immersion of being in Mother Earth, and you're surrounded by it, and it brings you to a weightless quality that allows you to enter the liquid plasticity of your imagination and to begin to soar.
Didn't y'all used to have a practice where you put earplugs in?
Oh, I still do, yeah.
What do you call that?
That's a problem. Titles and labels. But
tell us whatever it is.
Tumbling at the seashore, you know.
And what do you do?
Well, you need earplugs so the
Okay.
sand doesn't get in your ears, and then basically it's this thing that every child does, which is to stick themselves in the water, right where the waves are breaking. So there's anywhere from an inch to maybe a foot of water, and you use that water to make yourself weightless, and you let your head drop into the sand, and as you get better at it, you can just let all of your weight go, and at the same time fly on this little bit of water, and then become unraveled in the waves, and it becomes very acrobatic and gymnastic. And it's also a place where you're in a what are those isolation chamber. It has that quality, so that the world inside your head and inside your body expands, and you begin to again soar inside of it. And you know, as a kid I loved comic books, so I first started to do this as a being Spider-Man in the water and being able to do triple flips and then tumbling, and you know, it evolved, and now I've been doing it forever. And it's also kind of connected to my girlfriend's dance form, which is contact improvisation. I've been talking a lot about sharing weight, and contact improvisation is a beautiful dance form where people lean into each other and are able to move with each other, and very much in a conversation of weight and with the earth, and letting it support you. So the water is
Do you do that while you're having sex too? You could. I mean, you could play with the aspect of it.
It can be very sexy, but actually, it's much more of a masturbatory situation, because you're making love to the ocean and the earth. So another human is actually quite hard to run into, and particularly if the waves are big. The smacking can be a little bit extreme, and you have to be very soft when you encounter the other body, which is, you know, sexy.
Yeah. I was talking about the contact improv.
Oh, that everybody thinks that. And actually, I thought that at the beginning.
Well, it's just, can you those concept, or is it like, what do you call it, before having sex?
It is not.
It's not sexy at all. Foreplay. Thank you.
I mean, it can be. It can be anything.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's generally the impression that people from the outside see.
Because bodies are touching.
Yeah.
And
whereas
close.
it's much more about a demystification of touch, and you're so preoccupied with sensing and being aware of the other person's weight that there's not much time, unless that's what you're doing. And it's also it's a social world. It's one of the only. I've been into drum circles and jamming forever, but this is a form where people jam with their bodies, and jamming is a fundamental principle in the movement. And it's not appropriate to be only sexual, because then you're sexual, and then that's only one aspect of your humanity, and that only brings people that want that aspect. There's so many more ways to relate to each other that are sensual, that have that energy and that intimacy. There's so many different layers of intimacy available that to see it from the American sexual, that's okay. That's
the confusion between sensuality and sexuality. Like, yeah.
And it's a rich place to play, but I think it's a limitation to always fall back into that and to say that's what it is. But
now, are you teaching this now?
No.
You go and you assist her, and you're in the classes.
Yeah, I take a lot of classes.
Yeah, it sounds it.
And but I'm interested in teaching in the water, and I'm interested in teaching, but I don't, and I think there's a place we'll get together with that in the future. But at this moment, I'm still learning. You know, and I have a certain facility for it because of my work in the water, but I also lots of things I can't do. So I would feel a little odd teaching it, but I would feel comfortable teaching connectivity and the way to be in touch and in contact, even though I have so much to learn.
Are you reading a book right now?
Am I reading a book right now? Yeah, I'm reading a strange science fiction book that I can't remember the title of, but no. But I generally read poems here and there, and I love fiction. I love not being in my own storyline and really getting lost in the narrative of somebody else. I listen to a lot of books, and
Do you write?
Yeah, I do write some, but I find writing to be very challenging and very static. I don't think it's particularly healthy for me to be alone in a room with a page. I'd like to have written something, and I've written some poetry. I mean, it was interesting when I first began to be with my girlfriend. She's in Germany, and I'm here, and it started magically enough, and then we were in 2 different continents, and so I started to write her poetry, and she liked the poetry. So then I've got this great liberation and license to write. So then I wrote a bunch of poems for that first couple months, but now there's never any time for it, So again, I would like to have written, but the act of writing, even though it's great, I'm really much more interested in what comes in the moment. And I do believe that is another form of writing. I'd like to be recorded. So this is why I'm here today.
Like Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti was all recorded.
Yeah.
So the workshop that you do Tuesday nights at I Love Yoga, can you complete this sentence? This workshop is for you if ...
If you want to put some time into finding out who you are and looking at other ways of getting in touch with yourself, or maybe ways you've already done, but you're looking for more license, more freedom to stretch out, and yeah.
Awesome. And those listeners right now who can't get to your class on Tuesday nights, who want to tap into that self and are looking for that license to free themselves, what would you say to them? Like, what are some practices we can take on right now?
If you're in
lives?
South Florida, one of the amazing resources that's underutilized in South Florida is the ocean. So I would say go in the water, and
Good.
not be in a hurry. Float around, maybe float face down for a while.
I think not be in a hurry is a great general statement.
I like your float face down, especially right in front of the lifeguard stand.
Well, you got to warn them first.
I would do that.
I used to get saved all the time, and people get really, really annoyed with you. So
because I could, bond with the ocean and get some attention and maybe a kiss.
Well, maybe, if you get the right.
Just round the day out,
Kisses are always good.
Anything else you'd say to the listeners?
Well, yeah.
Go to the beach.
I
rush.
think that everything you do offers an opportunity to get lost in the flow and to have it be doing you as opposed to you be doing it. So to have a little confidence in your unconscious and to allow it more space to lead and to play more. I mean, be with your body in a playful way. Don't go work out. I mean, if you want to work out. That's cool. But tumble around, roll around, spend some time on the floor or talking to your friends or I think we don't give enough room to making ourselves happy. And with simple things, not with stuff, but with experience, and sharing and touching each other and making noise. Really making noise is good. Singing in the shower, really good to sing in the shower.
Great tips, Erik. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm gonna complete today. I'd love to have you back here again. Thank you so much for allowing me to go out on a limb today and being the space. Like, I felt safe having you here and experimenting with that. So thank you. Yeah,
I'm so glad to have been part of that.
So we're gonna take a couple of minutes and bring our intention together. So if you're somewhere where you can sit up, perhaps close your eyes. Let's breathe together. Let's feel how the breath that I breathe is the same breath that you breathe. The sun that shines on me is the same sun that shines on you. And my feet, they're on the same earth as your feet. We drink the same water. We breathe the same air. May all beings everywhere be happy, be free. Let's stand at that intention. May it begin with me right now. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free, present, alive. May all the beings on the planet be happy, be free. May all of my actions, my words, my thoughts contribute to happiness and freedom for all. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Call someone today. Tell them how much you love them. Let your family, your friends know that you care and appreciate for them. Let's take today and really, really use it. Use it to love. Use it to be ourselves. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening, tuning in, for being who you are. Blessings and namaste. Peace.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.